Okay, let's do it. These are what we think are the best bike brands of 2022. We've just been down in the workshop, chatting it out between myself, Jake, all from very, very different backgrounds, but just this comes from what have we had in our work stand this year, which has just really, really impressed us. And we sort of drew a graph up on the whiteboard downstairs and at quality versus price, and we sort of drew a line of where we think things sit. And sort of Jake drew the line a little bit further and was like, I swear to God, some of the brands are just like designer handbags. You know, the quality gets worse the more you pay. And we're like, yeah, actually, that's a very good point. So this is sort of how we got to what we're looking at. So on the far side is that designer bike, so to speak. There's definitely a premium range out there where you get a diminishing level of quality for the extra price you pay, but I think that's true and expected of most things. And what we're looking for is that recommended range where we think you've not a bargain, but we think you've probably got a little bit more than you expected for your money. And just what we in the shop would feel like if someone asked our opinion on, we'd be like, yeah, actually I can wholeheartedly recommend these products. So that's where we've been trying to focus this on. Obviously, things like disposable products, which we featured on the channel before, we're not going to be talking about today. And the rip-off products, we're definitely not going to be talking about. So we're after that, the recommended stuff. So just to qualify, because a few of you are going to think, why isn't my bike brand on it? The designer ones that we really felt, the stuff that really made us go, like, where's all the money gone? Like, where's the value in this? And it's like things like Prali, Cipollini, Fesca, Yeti cycles, don't get me wrong, beautiful bikes, but definitely definitely on that designer category, on that designer side. So on the premium side, things that have really impressed us, but have been expensive and should have impressed us, I guess. Things like Colnago, there's been some absolutely stunning Colnagos that we've worked on this year. Pinarello is up there. The design aesthetics and everything of Pinarello has been beautiful. It's generally been pretty good. The thing that sort of upset us a little bit, there's been a couple of build quality issues, not like frame issues, but like how the mechanics have actually built the bike, which is a real shame. And there's a couple of customers that have reported having brought a Pinarello from the Manchester brand store who've just been a little bit, felt a bit lackluster about the sort of the service that they got when they were sort of investing in such a premium product. Santa Cruz, a bit the same. It's one of those, such a premium product. It is actually beautiful, but doesn't necessarily deliver. And then Chris King is, we could put that on there every single year. It's one of those things, it's in your price range. You can afford it. They are absolutely beautiful. You take them apart. It's one of those things where it's a diminishing return, but you can actually see it. So just to give you an idea of where we're up to with what we consider premium. So here is our recommended list, and we've put look on there, and we debated for quite a long time whether look should be premium or whether it should be recommended. And what's amazed us a bit with look this year is it's not been as expensive as the perception, and the level of finishing has been beautiful. The level of attention to detail when we've unpacked the boxes as to what's included and the manuals, has all been like, yeah, this is nice. And we've almost been a little bit surprised. I mean, they're still expensive, don't get me wrong, but not as expensive as you think, which is interesting. Fast Forward, we've talked about this on the channel before. I think Fast Forward have really impressed us this year. Their rim quality is brilliant. They fit tubeless really, really well. They've put a stupid thing, but like how they've put the tape on, instance, is just so smooth. The build quality of the spoke tensions, the brass nipples, the fact they're using DT Swiss, they've got those options in there. The fact it comes in a nice wheel bag, and the wheel builder that built it has signed their name on it, and it's given you all the spoke tensions, all the warranty support that we've never had to use, but it's so nice. We can literally just pick up a phone and speak to someone and get their advice on something. It's a brand that has just impressed me so much this year. And when you look at the prices, they're not that much more expensive than the direct from China brands. And I've got to applaud that. I think they're doing some really good stuff. We've also got Cinelli on there. Again, one of those brands, I think it kind of gets overlooked, but we built a few this year and they've really impressed us. The frame build quality has been between good and very good, but the finishing has been excellent, as what you'd expect really. You shouldn't have to question the finishing, but on a bike of that sort of price, you're like, actually, this all bolts together, mounts are flat, etc. I've just been impressed. We've also got Argon 18 on there. We built some time trial bikes this year from Argon 18. The cable routing has worked beautifully on them. Really nicely thought out. The bottom brackets have all been excellent. They spin so freely, and just that BB386 Evo, etc. has all been working together. We're just one of those brands that is just, as we've been bolting things together, we've just been like, this is nice. Same with Mason, actually. Aluminium and steel type brand, and again, the quality of their paintwork and finishing is beautiful. Everything sort of seems to just work nicely together. The geometry, they seem to have got that. It seems to be suiting quite a lot of people, and a lot of riders are now sort of putting slick wheels on them and using them as a road bike as well. And I don't blame you, because they ride beautifully, and the build quality is outstanding. It looks really, really nice. So what else we've got in there? We've got SRAM Access. Now, notice I've not put on like SRAM Red or Rival or whatever, just the SRAM Access, because the idea of SRAM Access has been really impressive and so useful for us as a troubleshooting type of solution, because we can make anything with that Access brand, with those their electronic stuff, works together. So you can have road levers talking to mountain bike rear derailleurs, and then you can have a gravel bike, with the Explore rear mech. But then you go, well, actually, I'm going bike packing. I want even lower ratio gears. Kind of putting loads of bike packs on. You can take the rear derailleur off your mountain bike, and take the wheels off and bolt it on, and everything works. You can control everything through an app, and the firmware updates work beautifully. The battery's easy to charge. It's like, if this is the way that electronic group sets are going to go, that's the way I'd like it to go, because we shouldn't have compatibility issues with electronics. It should all kind of work together. And if you want to put a dropper post on your gravel bike, then you should be able to put a dropper post on your gravel bike. And I just think it's worthy of it, because if you're into that, one bike does it all, or switching and swapping and experimenting, I think Access have got it pretty sorted. Same with RockShox. We put RockShox on the list, but we made a point that we sort of removed the RockShox reverb, because they still haven't got the reverb dropper post sorted. But the rest of RockShox have really impressed us. And the reason is that you can spend a lot of money on Ollins and Cane Creek and whatever, and your Fox factories. And if you can't service them, you could have a pair of 6-month-old Cane Creeks that haven't been serviced for like 200 hours of riding, and you could put a set of freshly serviced RockShox next to them, and the RockShox will outperform them, because servicing makes the biggest difference. And RockShox have been making their forks easily serviceable. The service instructions are readily available, easy to follow. You can get all the parts and all the descriptions for those parts. You can order pretty much anything you need to service your RockShox at home. They don't really use any sort of weird tooling, a couple of weird things, but generally speaking, if you owned a set of RockShox, most bike shops should be able to service most of it. Whereas for Fox and Ollins and stuff, quite a lot of bike shops require that you send them by. We do everything here really, with a couple of exceptions, but and we definitely teach people how to service their own RockShox, because they're so easy. So that's why it's on there, because we want to applaud that right to repair. And if you can service your own RockShox forks every 50 hours to 100 hours, they're going to outperform forks that cost twice as much. So I think it deserves to be on the recommended list. DT Swiss. So the DT Swiss have finally sort of updated and significantly rolled out all their new hubs. And this is a company that is taken a look at what the industry's doing, and they've sorted a solution. You know, the industry's a real mess at the moment with different standards, and DT Swiss have gone, right, okay, this is what we need to do, and they've made it pretty easy. So a whole range of hubs, but they're easy to interchange. So if you have a set of mountain bike wheels and you want to put them onto your gravel bike and put a different free hub, you can literally pull these apart, change that free hub out. If you need to change the end caps because you've got your mountain bike is Boost and this is your gravel bike isn't, you can change that out. You can get a hub solution for pretty much everything, 6-bolt center lock, and this is the sort of thing that we need at the moment. You know, solutions that you can adapt and change and move from bike to bike as you upgrade, switch, whatever. This is great. And part availability, there's nothing weird in there, standard size bearings. Every bike shop in the world will know what to do with a set of DT Swiss hubs. We've got Bosch on there at the moment. Now, I like what Bosch are doing with their e-bike systems at the moment. And if you're in the market for an e-bike, I would urge you to look at an e-bike with a Bosch motor on. Now, things like Giant, Trek, Specialized, they're all bringing out their own proprietary motors. I mean, you could argue performance-wise, but you know, if you're thinking about buying an e-bike that hasn't got a Bosch motor, you need to start asking those questions about serviceability, part availability going forwards. The Shimano system is okay. It's nowhere near as punchy as a Bosch motor, but yeah, just I think they're doing great. They should be on the recommended list. Okay, Magura brakes. These are on the list. They've got some pretty premium brakes on there. They've got the new ABS stuff. They're doing some pretty exciting things. They're really pushing the brake market forward, which is what I love. But they've also got some absolutely steadfast, reliable product in there. The MT Trails are exceptional value for money for mountain bikers. You know, the lever feel, the modulation is great, the power is excellent. You know, the one finger braking lever is superb. There's a couple of weird things in their range, like you can't get the MT Trails come with 2-pot at the back and 4-pot at the front, which is annoying. And then the MT5s come with a different lever design, which is like, why have you done that? But on the whole, I really think that Magura are leading the mountain bike braking, and especially an e-bike braking market at the moment. I really do. Okay, getting through the list. Wera Tools are on here now. Loads and loads of bike shops around the world have been discovering Wera tools for their workshops, and we're no different. But this year, Wera have finally realised that, and they're now making a range of tools sort of designed for the home mechanic. So, which means you don't have to buy into massive socket sets and and big sets of stuff and really high quality stuff. They're now bringing it down to a small range of precisely picked sizes and products to really suit the sort of the cycling home mechanic, and I think they've nailed it. The prices are sort of creeping up to premium, but they're worth it. You know, we can wholeheartedly recommend them. We sort of call them our magic Allen keys because, and I swear, like, customers can come into the shop with a completely stripped bolt, thinking it's impossible to remove, it's going to need drilling out, and we can literally put a Wera Allen key in there and pull it out quite a lot of the time. And for us working on stuff like that, it's really reassuring, and I love the fact that they've started to embrace the cycling industry. So okay, across the bottom row then, Prologo. We realised that Prologo is one of those brands where we could fit bar tape, and the bar tape wraps really easily. It seems to last. Customers kind of love it. It's like easy, just fit it, get on with it. It works really well. Their saddle range as a bike fitter is fantastic. The new Dimension saddle with 143 and 152, I think, widths suits an awful lot of people. The durability seems all there. We've got some interesting products in time trial as well. It's one of those products where, as a bike fitter, I like to have a little range of products, but we generally find ourselves sort of reaching for the Prologo for quite a lot of people, and I guess that's why it's on the recommended list. Okay, Clarks. Didn't see this one coming, I bet, but Clarks have been producing in this crazy world some really good, cost-effective, cheap, definitely on the cheap side of things, but not shit. And they really impressed us. some of the brakes, the disc brakes, especially for mountain bikes, what you can buy in a box is like literally an entire brake set, you know, front and back, disc rotors, adapters, everything, all in the box for sometimes less than a couple of sets of brake pads and rotors from other brands. And they work really well. They bleed up really easily. They seem to be lasting. And there's lots of other little weird accessories, which have really helped us out in a sort of a weird pickle when we're trying to get things to work with other things. And yeah, I think they're doing some great stuff, and it's going to be one of those essential brands. It really is. Smith helmets. I sort of fought to have this one on here. It's my personal favourite helmet brand. I just think they've got the helmet market at the moment. They've just got some great designs. They fit really well. The prices are really reasonable. They completely saved my head in a crash recently. And yeah, I personally really think that Smith are doing some really cool things. It's such a shame that they haven't quite got their head around all the marketing, because quietly out there they're producing some really high quality stuff which fits really well. It's got lots of adjustability, but not too much that it gets complicated and heavy. Just, yeah, have a look. And finally, Rondo is one of those brands in the UK, has got a reputation for being like a chain reaction cycles brand. In actual fact, it's a Polish brand, and they've been really progressive on some of their geometry. Their frames really impressed us. You know, the Rondo Rut aluminium and the carbon have been really impressive bikes. The Rondo Hurt is a really impressive bike, and they seem to be growing. The wheel quality has been a bit dubious this year, I have to say, but the after-sales support, those have just been solved. Like, they're really passionate about making a good product for Rondo, and yeah, and right now there's actually some quite good deals on them. It must be trying to pull back from the chain reaction cycles deal a bit. I don't really know what's going on there, but there's yeah, it's one of those brands where we've just gone, yeah, actually check them out. They're worth a look. Okay, that's all our recommended list. Don't switch away, because there are some notable omissions on here, and we've put together a separate slide for the notable omissions, and here they are. Stuff that we were like, oh, you know, we should really put it on the list, but you know, they're not there. And Pirelli is my favourite brand. I love the P0s for the road. I love the Scorpions. The Cinturanos have been a fantastic winter tyre, but we've had issues with them this year. We've had a few returns, which Pirelli have sorted out. But the massive reason that they're on there is they're too expensive. Their prices this year have made them really difficult to recommend. But I don't really know what else to recommend, because we've also got Continental on the list. The Grand Prix 5000s have just been wearing out so fast. They are still difficult to fit in tubeless. Their Four Seasons one is really not impressing us. They've got some new mountain bike tyres on, and a few of us have been trying to run them, but they've just not been like, wow, you know, wowing us. And so it's hard to know what to recommend with tyres at the moment. I have to say, we thought Schwalbe, but couldn't recommend them blanket as a range. They've got some fairly interesting products in there at okay prices, but yeah, I think if you can find deals on Pirelli, great, but at the moment, just for what they're trying to say the RRP is, it's just I can't recommend them at that money. We've got Time on there. And I know that a lot of you who watch this show also watch Hambini, and it's a massive, Hambini's a real brand fan of Time. And I've only ever worked on a couple. I haven't worked on a single one this year. I want to put it on because it always gets talked about as the high quality premium. But what we're sort of discovering with Time at the moment is the customers that have had, you know, been watching the Hambini show and, you know, have aspired and what they're interested in owning at a Time, is they've not had much luck in actually acquiring one in terms of contacting them and ordering them, and they've had orders cancelled. And there's something really weird going on there where we couldn't really put them on the recommended list. I don't know what's going on. I'd love to know what your experience is. Have you managed to buy a Time? As well, actually, if you ordered one, has it arrived? You know, and if it is, maybe we're completely wrong. But right now, we couldn't really put it on the sort of the recommended list. One, because we just haven't seen one for quite a long time, and two, that's probably why people have been asking us, you know, can we get hold of one? And like, no, like just no easier than what you can. Okay, Mavic is on this notable omissions, mostly because I don't know what's going on with Mavic, but the 360 hubs are an absolute pain, and they really don't have the stock of parts and tools to work on them. Like, we've broken tools this year, and we've been almost impossible to find the tools to get into some of their Mavic 360 hubs. It's a bonkers situation. I don't really know what's going on there, but as a result, I find it really hard to recommend Mavic. And if you've taken apart, I don't know how they've managed to make a hub so simple when it's like someone like DT Swiss have just, it works perfectly and it's super simple. Yeah, so Di2 is on there. I just think that right now the Shimano Di2 is too expensive and it's not comprehensive enough for what it is we need to do. So they haven't updated mountain bike Di2 for a long time. So that whole, can you have like GRX levers and a mountain bike rear mech and then working with the new 105, it's not there yet. You can't quite got that freedom as you have done with the SRAM Access system, and the prices are just, it sort of saddens me. We did a whole video on this because I think they're selling it as a complete group set to bike brands who are trying to sell it, you know, as a tactical bike at a really good price. But then you think, oh, this is brilliant. I've got like a whole like electronic 105 group set for not much money. But then if you smash a mech, you've got a big repair bill on your hands, and it makes it really hard to use Di2 in a custom build situation because the costs just get out of control really quickly. Like a custom builders like us, we haven't got access to the prices of the, you know, the big brands who are just bundling it all together, whether you want that crank length or that gear ratio or not. It makes it really difficult to recommend Di2 as a custom build option. And we've got Hope on there. One, because Hope haven't really updated. They launched new brakes this year, and we were like, and we, like, Jake is a massive fan of Hope, and I asked them the question. I just said, if Hope only made their products in anodized black, would you still love them as much? And it was like, oh yeah, good point. they work, that's it. And the other one that's on this sort of notable omissions is part tool. Just been really disappointed with some of the part tools that we've sort of replaced, have just not been coming through at a quality that we would expect for that price. Yeah, it's as simple as that. And we've been looking for alternatives and finding better alternatives at better prices. And it's one of those brands, a bit like Mavic, which used to be the default. Yep, just buy that, and it's not anymore. I really don't think it's not blanket. Don't get me wrong. There's still some stuff in there, but it's not one of those sort of blanket recommendations. So yeah, there we go. There's our little like end of year roundup of stuff that's impressed us, stuff that hasn't. And yeah, as always, get into the comments, add to the discussion. Is there anything on there that you think probably should be added to that recommendations? Let us know. If you like this sort of content, please think about subscribing to the channel. There's just a few days left of the World Cup where I'm going to try and do these videos as a daily uploads. I'm starting to enjoy them, but as the workshop is getting slower and slower for Christmas, there's not so much exciting workshop stuff to show you. So these sort of chats are hopefully a bit of fun to fill the gap between the next cycling season. Right, take it easy everyone. Thanks for watching.